Hello everyone, my name is Jennifer and welcome to Best Kept Plans. Today's video is going to be my mid-year book freakout tag. I am really late to the game on this one, but I've been doing this the last few years in a row and I really wanted to record a 2025 version of this video. If you're interested in hearing about some of the books that I read in the first half of 2025, please stick around. Before we dive into the video, a couple of housekeeping things. It has been a while since I've posted anything here on YouTube. It's been a while since I posted anything on Instagram. I've just been very overwhelmed with work and have not had time to film things, to really even pursue anything creative in the last several weeks. I've also been in the midst of a bit of a book slump. July has definitely been very slumpy when it comes to reading. I do feel like I'm starting to come out of that haze, and so I'm excited to be filming today's video. I'm actually using a mic. This is new for me, so if the sound is a little wonky, I apologize. I'm excited to talk about the books that I've read in the first half of 2025. Again, I've been doing this video for the last few years, and it's just fun to look back on to see how things may have changed from mid-year to the end of the year. I do have my Archer and Olive reading journal, which I will be referencing throughout this video. This is where I keep track of all of the books that I've read throughout the year. Before we dive into the prompts for this book freakout tag, I did want to go over some stats for the first half of 2025. I actually have them all written down on my little cheat sheet here. So for January 1st through June 30th, 2025, I read a total of 76 books, which is very exciting because my reading goal on Goodreads this year was 75 books. So I've met that in the first 6 months of the year, which is great. I read a total of 30,276 pages. I have an average rating so far this year of 3.88 stars. I've read a total of 27 ARCs or ALCs this year. I've read 52 books off of my physical TBR, which is really exciting because a big thing for me this year was reading down my physical TBR. I started the year with over 200 books on it, and knowing that over 50 are read at this point is really cool. My most used method of reading is a combo method, which for me is going to be audiobook along with either a physical book or a digital book. And then my most read genre so far this year is romance, and I've read 32 romances so far this year. Oh, I forgot to mention I'm wearing my new shirt. I just got this shirt. You probably can't see it very well. It is from Pippi Post and it's a bunch of Jane Austen's books and I love it. I think it's adorable. Now that that stuff is all out of the way, let's talk about the prompts that I chose for the mid-year book freakout tag. These are the same prompts that I've been doing the last several years in a row. Excited about the books that I picked for these prompts. I did not want to repeat any, so I have quite a variety here, which is very exciting. The first prompt for the mid-year book freakout tag is, what is the best book you've read so far this year? And for me, that was an easy decision. That is The Book That Wouldn't Burn by Mark Lawrence. This is the first book in what I believe is going to be a trilogy. The second book is already out. I'm not sure when the third book is coming out. This book was incredible. I read this in January and it has stuck with me ever since. I think about this regularly. I think it's such an interesting fantasy story. I think it has really great concepts. I think the writing is superb. I think the world building is incredible. And I'm just very excited to see where Mark Lawrence goes with this story. The next prompt for the book freakout tag is the best sequel that I've read so far this year. Now, I will say this is not the second book in a series. It's actually the third book in the series. And I hope that's going to be okay for this prompt because this is the first thing I thought of when I thought of this prompt. And that book is Heat of the Everflame by Penn whole. I enjoyed the first book in this series, Spark of the Everflame. Glow of the Everflame, which is book 2, was a little bit of a dip. And so book 3 to me was really going to let me know how I was going to feel about the rest of the series. And I'm so happy to say that this third book is fantastic. And it's actually my favorite in the series so far. So much happens in here. This book is big, but the author really does utilize the page count to develop this story really, really well, and I'm excited to see where the rest of this series goes. The next prompt is a new release that I haven't read yet, and I actually have a spread in my reading journal all for new releases. This is a new spread that I put in this year, and I'm so glad that I did because it really helped me keep track of new releases that I was interested in reading or finding a way to try to read, even though I'm on a book buying ban. I've been able to be very creative about the way that I've been purchasing books this year. I did receive a couple of gift cards for Christmas and my birthday, which was in March, and I have actually held onto those in the hopes of using them to purchase books throughout the year. The new release that's not checked off on my list yet that I'm excited to get to, but a little nervous to get to, is actually Atmosphere by Taylor Jenkins Reid. I don't know that I have much of any interest in space, but I've heard good things about it. I do have the audiobook through Penguin Random House Audio, so I can listen to it at any time. I just haven't gotten there yet. I'm in the midst of a slump as well, and I don't want to be in a slump when I read something like this because I'm already nervous about the subject matter. So I'm not sure when I'm going to get to it, but I definitely want to get to it this year. The next prompt actually goes along with our last one, and it is, what is my most anticipated new release for the second half of the year? And that was an easy one for me. The book that I chose is A Witch's Guide to Magical Innkeeping by Sangu Mandana. I have been looking forward to this book for so long. This book was actually supposed to come out last year in 2024 and it got delayed, and then it was originally supposed to come out on April 29th. I have it written in my new release tracker here, and then it got delayed until July. I do believe that it's actually out already. I also have this audiobook available to me through Penguin Random House Audio. I just haven't gotten to it yet. I'm so looking forward to finally reading it because I've been anticipating it for so long. The next book that we have for this mid-year tag is My Biggest Disappointment, and that unfortunately goes to The Love Haters by Catherine Center. I thought that the focus on the main character's body image was a struggle to read. I also didn't really sense the romance connection, and I also thought that the third act conflict was a bit drawn out. And so for a couple of different reasons, this book just didn't work for me. Our next prompt is Biggest Surprise, and that definitely goes to Caught Up by Navessa Allen. I was fortunate enough to get an early copy of this from Zando Slow Burn, so thank you so much to them for sending this to me. I like this even more than Lights Out. This was so much fun. I thought that the second chance aspect of the romantic relationship was great. I thought that the protective nature of our male main character was intriguing. I thought our female main character was very interesting, and I thought what the author did with her as a character, with what she does for a living, with how that's going to factor into romantic relationships, like I thought all of that was really cool. And I ended up giving this like a 4.5 out of 5 stars. I really liked it, and it makes me even more excited to dive into the next book in this series. So this was definitely the biggest surprise that I read so far this year. The next prompt was, what is my favorite new to me author? And honestly, I really couldn't come up with anyone for that prompt. Instead of picking someone that was new to me, I decided on one that's really kind of cemented themselves as a favorite author for me, and that is Olivia Blake. She wrote Gifted and Talented, which is her book that I've read so far this year. I've read a bunch of her other books, and she really never disappoints. I've enjoyed every single one of her books. Reading this year really did cement her as one of my favorite authors, and probably my favorite in the fantasy world. I love this book. I love so many of her books, and I just highly recommend her. Our next prompt is a fun one, and that is Newest Fictional Crush, and I had to pick Jack from Beg Borrow Steal by Sarah Adams. I was fortunate enough to receive an arc of this from Dell Romance, so thank you to them. I'm not an enemies to lovers girl, but the way that the rivals to lovers is handled in this is perfection. To me, Jack is probably my favorite male main character that I've read from Sarah Adams so far. He's got a quirkiness and a nerdiness to him that just really works and vibes and gels for me, and I absolutely loved him in this book and love this book overall. Our next prompt is my new favorite character that I've read so far this year, and I was kind of thinking about several different characters for this, but when I remembered that I had read this book this year, it became very obvious to me that this had to be my pick, and that is Little Alien from Life Hacks for a Little Alien from Alice Franklin. I was fortunate enough to get this ARC copy from Little Brown, so thank you so much to them for sending this to me because I don't know if I would have discovered this book otherwise, and I'm so glad that I did. I highly recommend the audiobook. The narrator for this is absolutely incredible. She really makes this character come to life. It just all really works in audiobook format. I really do feel like Little Alien is such a special character and a character that we need to protect at all costs and a character that I am ride or die for, and that is why it is my favorite character that I've read so far this year. The next one is a rough one. It's a book that made you cry, and I knew immediately that I was going to choose this book for this prompt, and that is The Book Thief by Marcus Sussex. I cannot tell you all how much I bawled hysterically multiple times while reading this book. This is a very moving and touching book. It's a very sad book. There's a lot of trauma in here. I love the way that the author framed this book. I love that our main character is a young female child. I like that our narrator is deaf. Everything about this just really worked for me. This was a 5-star read for me. I'm so glad I picked this up, but it really is incredibly emotional and I cried so many times while reading it. To switch things up after that, we're going to talk about a book that made me happy, and I had to pick this one because I smile every time I think about it, and that is Great Big Beautiful Life by Emily Henry. I know a lot of people were not huge fans of her newest release, but I absolutely love this book. This is the first Emily Henry book that I've actually rated 5 stars. I'm just so happy to have finally found a 5-star Emily Henry book. Next, we have the most beautiful book that I have or purchased this year, and for me that is Conditions of Will by Jessa Hastings. This cover is absolutely stunning. The artist that works with Jessa Hastings on our covers is fantastic, and I feel like she really brings the books to life through the covers. I'm also a huge fan of like a French flap, which this has, and of deckled edges, which this has. So not only is the visual on the front very beautiful, but I love the style of the paperback as well, and the back cover is gorgeous as well. The last prompt is books that I need to read before the end of 2025, and to make this prompt easier for myself, I just ended up picking the rest of the books that are on my 25 books in 2025 reading challenge. I have The Invisible Life of Addie LaRue, Circe, The Starless Sea, These Violent Delights, Olive Kitteridge, Babel, Demon Copperhead, The Ballad of Falling Dragons, The Fellowship of the Ring, and The Great Alone left to read for my 25 books in 2025 reading challenge. I definitely need to make sure that I get on that and that I'm paying more attention to that as I'm picking my TBRs for the rest of the year. And that is it for my mid-year book freakout tag. I'm so glad that I finally sat down and filmed this video. I have so much fun filming this video every year and talking about the standout books that I've read so far in the year. I hope that you all enjoyed this video. If you have read any of the books that I talked about, please leave some spoiler-free thoughts down below, or feel free to answer any of the prompts with your picks down below. And as always, everyone, please be safe. Bye-bye.